Thank you for the camera. Camera's there. Thank you for the applause. This will be brief, and I'll try to make it interesting. I see faces that I imagine are familiar, and the interesting thing about writing is every time you stand up in the audience, you imagine that the people listening are a room full of your friends. So you start inventing lives that you had together. But since they have my book here, Question of Freedom, and you get a chance to pick it up if you want, I will tell you the story of how it actually came to life. It's a funny story, and I'm trying to get it in 5 minutes. So I worked at a bookstore called Karibu Books. And the thing is, everything is up for negotiation. Most people think it's not, but everything is up for negotiation. Most people who work in stores definitely don't think everything is up for negotiation. I did. So a woman walks into the bookstore, she buys one book for herself. I say, would you like to get a book for your son? She says, no. I say, well, reading is fundamental. I say, I give you 5% off. She says, no. I say, I give you 10% off. She says, no. I say, I give you 15% off. She says, look, I'm going to buy this one book, or I'm not going to buy any books. I say, okay, you can buy this one book. Now, being who I was, a 24, 25-year-old kid, I did what all 24, 25-year-old kids would do who think they're fairly intelligent. When she left the store, I called my friend and talked bad about her. My friend says, do you know this woman? She says, do you know if she had the extra $3.50 to buy that book for her son? She says, more importantly, what are you doing to help increase literacy among these young people who you are currently saying need to be reading more? So I licked my wounds. And I said, you know what, I'm going to start a book club. So I started this book club called Young Men Read. Everybody that came in the bookstore, I said, look, you should put your son in my book club. It's called Young Men Read. They said, who are you? I said, I'm the manager here. I said, okay. So I started the book club. I get about 7 kids aged 6 to 11, 10 or 11 kids aged 12 to 18. I run the book club for a few months. One day a woman comes in, she says, she wants to buy a book. I show her the book. I said, you should put your sons in my book club. She says, you have a book club? I said, yes. She says, I don't have sons. I said, dang. So, because I am the epitome of every negative stereotype amongst black males, even in a highly educated institution like a bookstore, the woman says, what books are you reading? And I guess she think I'm gonna say something foolish. So I say August Wilson. That's what we just read, and name a couple of other books. And I was grabbing books that I thought were good. And she said, well, you know who August Wilson is? And I thought, damn, that is messed up. I said, yes, I know who August Wilson is. And so she says, we should write about you. And I thought, who is we? And she said, I work for the Washington Post, we should write about you. So she introduces me to a friend. Her friend comes to the book club meeting. Now I told the kids they could pick their own book. At this time, nobody knew I'd been to prison except the owner of the bookstore. The kids picked Tukey Williams, and this is the book that they're going to read the day this woman comes to witness the book. Now, me, I'm a free spirit, but I'm thinking ain't no way in hell I'm going to have a group of kids reading a book about a black dude in prison, run by a black dude in prison. Now, the children didn't understand the irony of the situation because no one knew that I was in prison. And I said, you know what? I told them that they could pick the book. They could pick the book. So the woman comes, she does the whole book club meeting. 2 weeks later, we're having a conversation. She says, what high school did you graduate from? I said, that's complicated. Clearly, she had never heard that answer before. She said, what do you mean it's complicated? I said, well, I don't know the name of the high school. That made it worse. So I told the woman, I said, look, I got locked up when I was 16. I met a woman, Alice Hoffman, who was the GD instructor. She found out that I was taking all of these advanced courses and AP courses, and she said, why are you in prison? I told her, she said, well, you're going to be there for a while, but maybe we can help you get your high school diploma. Turns out I had enough credits to skip 12th grade, get my high school diploma, and go to prison. My mom was excited about the high school diploma part, and I'm not excited about prison. So I tell this reporter this, and the reporter says, well, this has to be a part of the story. And I'm thinking, no, it doesn't have to be a part of the story. And we go back and forth for 2 weeks. She's arguing with me about how it's public record. She says, what, are you afraid to tell people you've been in prison? Are you ashamed? Damn right I'm ashamed. And then she said, well, do the parents know? I'm like, nah, but I'm gonna tell them right now, since you just act like I'm, afraid to tell the parents, I just don't want it in the newspaper. So finally the woman called me and said, forget it. I won't do the story. The woman never talked to me again. So the woman I met in the bookstore comes to the bookstore. No, I meet her at an event a couple weeks later. I'm selling books at the event. She said, why didn't you want to be in the newspaper? I said, look, I did 8.5 years in prison when I was 16. First person in my family to go to prison. Why would my mom want to read about me being famous for being in prison in the newspaper? It's irrelevant. If the story was about the book club, the story was about the book club. And mom said, yeah, but it's, don't you think that it's impressive and you have something to offer to the world with your story? And I said, nah, I really don't. And she said, well, what if I talk to your mom? Can I call your mom? And it threw me so off guard that I said yes, right? And the woman happened to have written the book before, so she called my mom, and she said, can I do the story? My mom said, yes. If she called me, she said, Dwayne, if you want them to do the story, do the story. And I said, no, I don't care. It's going to be, excuse me. I said, it's going to be in the back of the metro section. Who cares? Nobody will see it. Whatever, do the story. So this woman does a story. She interviews former teachers. She interviews the owner of the bookstore. She interviews me several times. Fast forward, month and a half later, October 2nd, 2007. My mom calls me crying. I'm like, why are you crying, Mom? What's going on? You okay? You told me you was going to be in the newspaper, but you didn't say you was going to be on the front page. And I was like, I'm not on the front page of the newspaper. She was like, I have the newspaper. You're on the front page of the newspaper. Fast forward. A woman in New York sees the article. She tells her co-worker, man, I would do a book about this dude. I would do a book with him. So her co-worker says, yeah, whatever, okay. A month after that, they had an event. Her co-worker is sitting with a friend of mine. They just gossiping. The co-worker says, yeah, one of my co-workers saw some kid on the front page of the newspaper, She was like, I would love to do a book with him, but nobody knows who he is. Now this is just gossip. This is what you're going to do right now, right? This is not supposed to lead to anything. My friend said, you talking about Dwayne? He's like, I don't know, some black dude that been in prison reading books, got a book club. She said, yeah, Dwayne, is she serious? He said, she sounded serious. Next thing I know, I get a call from an agent. Nobody gets a call from an agent. I'm in Spanish class at the University of Maryland. The woman calls me and says, would you like to write a book? I said, sure, sounds interesting. And one thing led to the next. Agent called me, I signed with the agent, I wrote a proposal, and the book was signed in. And, the last piece I say is why I think it's relevant to this. I wasn't fortunate enough to have a community like Grub Street when I began writing. But I sort of invented my own version of a Grub Street while I was in prison. And the thing is, you never know where a passion and a love of the written word will take you. My book began because I wanted people to read. It didn't begin because I wanted to be a writer. You being in this room right now, you're saying that the important thing is not necessarily what are your goals as a writer. But what's important is nurturing the idea that reading is important. So, while I honestly never expected to be here, I don't think I worked very hard to be here. I know I worked very hard because I thought writing and reading was important. And at the end of the day, Grub Street is not about published books. Grub Street is not about international acclaim. The other two authors speaking with me are very talented and are internationally acclaimed. But I'm sure they would tell you the truth, that they began writing out of passion and out of joy. And I take it that we all ask for your support out of passion and out of joy. Thank you.